Sure.
Okay.
Once again, good morning, everyone. Thank you for providing this opportunity. Myself, Satyavati from UPL Sustainable Agri Solution. And this is the content of today's presentation. I'm taking through about UPL and UPL comprehensive portfolio, and then we can have some question answer if any. So I'm proud to share this information that our chairman, Mr. Raju Shroff, has been honored with the India's highest civilian award, Padma Bhushan, for his contribution to the field of trade and industry. If we see UPL in a global, so this is the overall scenario. I will just take the some snapshot of it. UPL stands as a number one in biosolutions and fifth rank in chem industry with the revenue of $5 billions. And it has a market access to the food basket around 90%, and it sales presence in more than 138 countries. And since UPL has more business outside India, it brings about 91, more than 91% of business. And the employees work globally across is more than 13K. And UPL has 43 manufacturing facilities and 30 R&D facilities. And it present in the 40 plus successful acquisitions so far from 25 years. So this is the beautiful journey of UPL. I'm very proud to share this. So why UPL, formerly known as UPL Limited, now we are claiming it as UPL Sustainable Agriculture Solution because it brings solution from seed till post harvest. So from the seed and the crop protection, UPL Open AG, which brings the innovation and food security solutions through its innovative products. And we have our one alliance, which is a nurture farm, which provides services to the growing communities by precision agriculture technology like drone and farm machinery services. And we have a one NPP sector which take care of all biologicals, and it is a natural plant products which targets entire crop growth cycle pre as well as post harvest. And we have other Advanta, which is the sector for a seed and plant development through conventional plant breeding. It brings the many technology in the seed industry. And we have a Decon Open AG, which is a near and post harvest technologies to safeguard the food till it reaches to the table. And we also have a Veto Pharma, which is a concentrating mainly on the honeybee activities. So some key portfolio product in the key crops, I will just glance it. So if we take a race, which is the major crop in India, so these are the some different categories of UPL products. In herbicide category, we have a pre and post emergent molecule presently available in the market, and insecticide combination of Cartap and CTPR, and the newly introduced molecule fluperamine, which are available in both the formulation, which take care of BPH and stem borer. And we do have some fungicide, which is a broad spectrum control in the rice major diseases. And in soybean crop, we have all the categories like herbicide, we have a post-emergent, pre-emergent, and in insecticide, we have a range of product which can take care of major diseases of soybean, and some fungicide like Avancer Glow, combination of Azaxymanco and the Manco carbendazim, which are broad spectrum in control. And recently there was a three-way premix combination of insecticide and fungicide as a seed treatment, which protect major soil health diseases as well as the pest in soybean crop. And other two crop like maize and sugarcane, we do have some product like in herbicide, topramazine, atrazine, and pyroxa. And in insecticide, we have for fall armyworm two products, Virat and Acifate, with different formulation. And in fungicide, SOF is a broad spectrum which can control blight diseases. And for sugarcane, there is a first three-way combination herbicide introduced in sugarcane, which is a broad spectrum control of all the weeds, grasses, broadleaf, and sedges. And in cotton, we have a pre-plant application herbicide, which is a pendimethalin in CS formulation, and post-emergent herbicide is also available. And in insecticide, we have a range of products which can control sucking pest and lepidopteran pest in cotton, which are the major concerns in cotton crop, and some fungicides. And in groundnut also, we have a post-emergent herbicide and fungicide and a one seed treatment which can protect the soil diseases. And in chili crop, we have a pre-plant incorporation herbicide and a range of insecticide, which has a major concern in chili crop, and also some fungicide which can control major diseases of chili like anthracnose, blight, and leaf spot. And in potato also there is a presence of huge range of products, mainly concentrating fungicide, which is the major concern in potato. And we do have a one anti-sproutant, which is used as a in a cold storage condition to rest the sprout in the potato crop. So in tomato and grape also we have range of fungicide which can take care of major diseases of these horticultural crop, and we have some miticide which is bifenazate in grape. It is a concern. And in mango also we have fungicide which can take care of mango major fungal diseases, and some insecticide. And in pomegranate also cuprofix and avancerlo. Cuprofix is the molecule which can control major fungal diseases, and it additionally it has the advantage of acting as a bactericide. So these are the only key crop which I have presented here. UPL, you name the any crop, UPL has its range of product in that particular crop to protect the crop until from seed till the post harvest. So I personally thank each and everyone for providing this opportunity to give some glimpses of UPL. And if you have any doubt, you can ask here, or else I'm giving my contact details. You can connect here. Thank you. Over to you.
Now the topic is open for discussion.
Ms. Majalkar, this is Dr. Ravi. I'm basically a toxicologist. Earlier, I was with National Institute for Plant Health Management. Since you are in registration regulation, of course, I could see Edwin also presenting a nice paper. Now, what is the difference in terms of registration in India as well as in other, at least in Asian countries? What do you feel it can be easy so that this can be thrown through a policy support? And in terms of there are IPPC guidelines is there. Is there any variation in India, or you want to make it easy for at least for some of the novel product, eco-friendly product? Or do you have any experience on this?
Yeah, thank you for that question, sir. Actually, when it comes to regulation, we cannot compare because it is totally in the policies of country which it can define. We have to follow it. So, in our experience, we have the product which globally in other countries we do have in India or in Asia, but we have to follow whatever guidelines has been released for that particular country. Hope I have answered you.
Do you need any change in registration procedure? India is a very big country having, different kind of agriculture. It's not intense agriculture as it is done in developed countries. You are doing a lot of activities. Our focus is on with fragmented land with farmers with minimum knowledge. You have anything to discuss on that, or you're happy with the procedure what you're doing here?
No, the only concern in Indian regulation is time. The time concern, every time the issue comes with the whatever suggested time or the actual time, it goes beyond that. The reasons may be n factors, but we as a regulator, we will see to that whatever clause given, we have to follow that strictly and follow it up frequently so that our product comes in our hand on time. So if suggestion taken from us, like if I give one example, during the drone SOP development, there was a suggestion taken from the stakeholders to get the registration of the existing molecule with the label expansion as the application through drone. So that the time we have given some suggestion, like when the molecule already tested, so only through drone we can test for the phytotoxicity. If has any phytotoxicity, then we cannot go ahead. If there is no phytotoxicity, we can go ahead with the registration. So it was the decision claimed by the CIBRC that all the existing molecule can go ahead with the drone application, and they given the provision registration as well. So this is not only from one stakeholder, it has came from many stakeholders, so they have approved. So such suggestion will go from us as well, and to minimize the data generation timeline and to get the product registration as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thank Mrs. Satyavati, Specialist for Registration and Regulatory Affairs, UPL, for having provided detailed information on herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides crop-wise. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now I call upon our another sponsor, our own Madras Agriculture Students Union, Dr. I. Johnson, Associate Professor, Plant Pathology, to explain its activities. அதை அப்போ அவர் வெளியே போயிட்டாரு, மாற்றணும்.
அனைவருக்கும் காலை வணக்கம். மதராஸ் வேளாண் மாணாக்கர்களின் சங்கம் என்பது வேளாண் சம்பந்தப்பட்ட ஆராய்ச்சிகளில் ஈடுபடும் விஞ்ஞானிகளுக்கான தளம் என்பதால் நான் ஆங்கிலத்தில் தொடர்கிறேன். மேலும் விஞ்ஞானிகள் பல்வேறு மாநிலங்களிலிருந்து இதில் பங்கேற்கிறார்கள். அவர்களின் நலனுக்காக ஆங்கிலத்தில் தொடர்கிறேன். Good morning to all. On behalf of Madras Agricultural Students Union, I welcome you all. MASU publishes research achievements of scientists in Madras Agricultural Journal and encourages scientific deliberations through organizing seminars, workshops, besides supporting the academics through book publication. Let us go through a short AV about the MASU.
In the heart of Tamil Nadu, where tradition meets innovation, a century-old legacy thrives, shaping the future of agriculture. This is the story of the Madras Agricultural Students Union, MASU, and its journal. Established in 1911 and formally registered in 1923, MASU was founded as a platform to empower agricultural scholars. As the student and publishing arm of the Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, it has been a driving force in fostering scientific inquiry, education, and progress in agriculture. Under the leadership of pioneering figures such as President Cecil Wood, Vice President De Silva, and Secretary Ramaswamy Sivan, MASU was established on a foundation of excellence. Over the decades, its legacy has been enriched by the contributions of agricultural icons, including the revered Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, the father of the Green Revolution, cementing its role as a cornerstone of India's agricultural advancement. Today, MASU represents a dynamic network of 603 lifetime and annual members, alongside a thriving community of over 4,500 student members. Through cutting-edge research, sustainable practices, and educational innovation, it empowers future leaders to redefine the frontiers of agriculture. Since 1913, MASU has proudly published the Madras Agricultural Journal, MAJ, India's oldest and longest-running journal in agricultural sciences. A peer-reviewed quarterly, MAJ upholds the highest standards of scholarly rigor, bridging generations of knowledge and research. indexed globally in platforms such as Commonwealth Abstracts and Chemical Abstracts, and listed in the directory of open access journals, MAJ offers open access to its century-old archives, ensuring that knowledge transcends borders and empowers researchers worldwide. MASU is committed to celebrating excellence. From awards dating back to 1913 honoring educators and innovators, to providing a platform for young students and scholars to express themselves, MASU continues to inspire and recognize outstanding contributions to agriculture. Guided by its mission to promote agricultural education, foster collaboration, and share groundbreaking research, MASU remains a catalyst for change. It is not just an organization, it is a movement dedicated to advancing agriculture for a sustainable future. In the heart of Tamil Nadu, where tradition meets innovation, a century-old legacy thrives, shaping the future of agriculture. This is the story of the Madras Agricultural Students Union, MASU, and
I take this opportunity to welcome the scientists, researchers from various institutions to become the life member of this prestigious society and contribute your research achievements. In memory of the Foundation Day of MASU, we celebrate MASU Day on 14th July of every year. During that occasion, we recognize the contributions of scientists in the fields of research, teaching, and extension through felicitating the awards. We wholeheartedly welcome research articles from various institutes. We also welcome the scientists to serve as reviewers of articles. So I welcome the scientists to join the hands with MASU for the betterment of scientific community. விவசாயிகளின் தேவைக்காக தமிழிலும் புத்தகங்கள் வெளியிடப்படுகின்றன. அரங்கத்தின் இடப்புறத்தில் அமைக்கப்பட்டுள்ள அரங்கத்தில் காட்சிப்படுத்தப்பட்டுள்ளது. தேவை இருப்போர் பார்வையிட்டு பெற்றுக்கொள்ளலாம். நன்றி. Thank you for the opportunity.
I thank Dr. I. Johnson, MASU, for having shown the developments of MASU, the history to all the participants. Thank you, sir.
Now we call upon PVN Instrument Madras Private Limited, Mr. Ravichandran. PVN Instrument Madras Private Limited is a company based in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India, specializing in the manufacturing and supply of a wide range of industrial instruments. The company focuses on providing solutions on process automation, measurement, and pressure gauges and control system. It also offers products such as pressure gauges, temperature sensors, level transmitters, flow metrics, which are used across various industries. Their goal is to provide high quality, reliable instruments for improving efficiency and safety in industrial operations. Now, I welcome Mr. Ravichandran sir to explain their activities. Thank you.
Good morning, all. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to us. We, PVN Instruments Madras Private Limited, it's our privilege to say our sincere thanks to TNAU and your team, given the opportunity to serve you on regular basis on your seamless support and success of this international conference on One Health Perspective in Global Plant Productions Research 2025. It's great, sir, and we bow down to you for the success. And BVN, we give 25 plus years service to the maximum state and central institution like Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, Kerala Agricultural University, and a lot of IITs and the central universities, Indian Institute of Food Processing Technology, Tanjore, NIT, NIST, ISER,
I thank Ravichandran sir for having explained the activities of BVN Instruments Madras Private Limited. Thank you, sir.
Now I call upon Dr. Manogaran, Indophil India Limited. Indophil. Indophil is a company that specializes in the development and production of innovative solutions in the field of industrial chemical and materials. Indophil is known for its expertise in polymer processing, additive and specialized chemicals aiming and producing sustainability in agriculture. Now I invite Dr. Manoharan to present Indophil company activities to the farmers and other stakeholders in the group.
Thank you, sir. Very good morning, all of you. So I'm really happy to be here presenting on behalf of Indophil Industries Limited on the topic Harvesting Happiness for a Sustainable Future. So you all very well knew about Indophil Industries Limited. It is known in the agrochemical industry as a fungicide giant. It has over 60 years of legacy in manufacturing high quality fungicides, insecticides, and other agricultural chemicals. So like Mr. Kendappa sir mentioned, so Indophil also one of the Indian company which has, while it maintains its strong domestic presence, it has also its international footprint almost in more than 120 countries. So how to change the slides? Okay. So when we talk about Indophil, one cannot forget or one cannot pause without remembering our product Indophil M45 because it has the legacy of more than 60 years of service to the farmers, and it is one of the most trusted brands by the scientists, farmers, and the channel partners across the globe. So it was first introduced by Indophil Industries Limited almost way back in late 1960s, and still it is one of the first choice for the farmers when it comes when it comes to the disease management. So it is one of the major product which has never developed any resistance so far because of its multi-site action. So most of the fungicides available in the market targets the single point of action, whereas Mangoseb is capable of working against multi-sites against the spores, pathogenic force. So Indofil is one of the company which has been known for providing groundbreaking solutions in India. So we were the first to launch oxyflurane in India for the effective management of weedicides, and we were the first to introduce dicofol in India for the management of mites and other insect pests. We were the first to launch tricyclosol fungicide in India for the management of rice. Rice blast. And we were the first to introduce novoluren in India, which is an first IGR-based insecticide. And we were the first to introduce myclobutanil in India for the management of downy mildew. And we were the first to introduce broad spectrum seed treatment fungicide in the combination of Mangoseb and carbendazim. So this is one of the indispensable tool nowadays in onion for the management of Fusarium bulb rot. So in this legacy so we have also introduced one of our product called Alecto. It is powered by broflanilide. So you might have heard. It is one of the revolutionary insecticides for the management of wide range of lepidopteran pests, thrips, and jacids. The main advantage of this product is it's 1 day PHI. So even during our recent conversation, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam, really appreciated this. So this is one of the first insecticide having 1 day PHI for the use in vegetables approved by CIBRC. And so recently we have almost treated 40,000 acres in maize in the last season, with almost 1,000 plus farmers effectively used this insecticide for the effective management of fall armyworm. And similarly, more than 1,000 plus farmers used this insecticide in all other crops.
Dr. Manoharan, we are running short of time.
Yes, sir.
Please.
And coming to one more important explorative studies under progress for the management of Rugose spiraling whitefly on coconut. Rugose, you all very well knew that even after using many insecticides, controlling of populations of Rugose spiraling whitefly is increasingly unmanageable, so threatening coconut production. So we have recently explored, attempted testing various products for the control of Rugose spiraling whitefly, and we found that our preliminary studies are encouraging by providing excellent results against this pest. So Cubico is one of the promising product in the upcoming days. It comes with the difenduran 48% plus dinotefuran 8%. So we are in the stage of completing our in-house trials, and so once we complete our in-house trials, we will be approaching TNAU for further validation, and we request our director CPPS madam to suggest a way forward to take up this product to recommend to the farmers on ad hoc basis. So we are also on the verge of introducing our first bionematicide. So this is, so we have already completed our in-house trials. The results are found superior than the currently available market standards. And we are also set to sign an MOU with the Tamil Nadu Agricultural University to conduct further trials. And we are really grateful for the support of TNAU, particularly Dr. Sandhi ma'am, for her unwavering support and also for her invaluable contribution to this initiative.
Please.
So thank you so much for all your time and attention.
I thank profusely Dr. Mahendran Paneerselvam for having explained the activities of Indophil on behalf of Directorate of Center for Plant Protection Studies.
I now call upon Vanam India Foundation, Sri Vigneshwar, to explain about their activities. Please be brief, sir, because we are running short of time.
A very good morning to one and all gathered here. Myself, Vigneshwar from Vanam India Foundation. Vanam is an NGO based in Palladam. It was started in 2015 with the main ambition of increasing the green cover in and around Tirupur and the Coimbatore region. So far, we have planted around 10.5 lakhs of trees and 15 lakhs of saplings have been given to various government and non-governmental organizations. So, Vanam India Foundation is basically a charitable trust. It's an NGO. And we have 5 basic principles which we are continuously working upon. One thing is to increase the green cover. Second thing, to harvest the rainwater and make it as a habit of drinking in a rainwater. Third thing, to convert organic waste into fertilizers. Fourth one, to increase awareness between younger population about health awareness and green cover. Fifth one, how to integrate all these 4 and make it as give it as an holistic approach to an upcoming generations. So in this One Health, I would like to emphasize or share a small information with you, friends. Back, 2-3 years back, there was a Nipah virus which was breakout in Kerala pandemic. And how I want to relate this to One Health is we need to have a bilinguistical living, like where we live with forest, animals, and humans. So these 3 are the centric point which is behind the One Health. So coming back to the topic, when the Nipah virus break out, it was due to the fruit eating bats that caused the Nipah virus. And there were a group of people which were telling we should abandon bat completely out of our ecosystem, because they were not really knowing what bats were actually doing, other than they were night predators and hunting and eating fruits. But there is an interesting fact which says that one bat on an average daily eats 4,000 to 5,000 mosquitoes. So when one particular species is taken out from our ecosystem, the ecosystem gets imbalanced. So many people are not understanding it. They simply says that we need to take out if we are having a problem, but rather than we are not very open mind to find a solution, which really needs to be think out of box and to have a modern day solution. And that's one topic I want to share with you. And second point is in Vanam India, we are working with the biochar in the past 2 or 3 months, along with an organization called Heartfulness based in Hyderabad. So basically, biochar is nothing but the charcoal, which has an abundant content of carbon, and rather than the ash content is on a very lesser components. So when you take biomass, bamboo has an largest carbon content. Their dry mass is about more than 75 to 80%. They have carbon, and second one is a coconut shell, which has about 70 to 75% of carbon content. So we are basically aiming to capturize these 2 biomass and convert it into biochar and give it to farmers at a subsidy cost. Biochar is not a new terminology as we might have heard. It's a very old tradition. Like it was back in 2 to 3 centuries was followed by in African continents. I mean, the goodness of biochar, it goes on. I couldn't say. Uh, for example, there was a research conducted by Chalmers University in Sweden, which says that charcoal of the biochar, which absorbs the DTT, it's an insecticide which was sprayed during the year of 1940 to 1950 in Central Africa and Europe to control the dengue and the spread of malaria. And the same was banned in India in the 1970s, and but still the market was available in black market till 2000. And when the farmers in our belt goes for a gap certification in Europe, they fail with the DTT because their soils are present in DTT chemicals which are hydrophilic, and it combines with soil and gets carried over all the way to our food chain. So the research states that when we are applying biochar to the soil, it absorbs the DTT in the soil from 20 to 30 percentage, and the extensive research has been carried out. So we are also asked TNAU to form a team and analyze what are the other kinds of pesticides or insecticides that have been using for so much of decades can be absorbed by a biochar. So I think it will be a great innovation. I mean, not an innovation, but great research work to be carried out in this field. I could conclude it say. And finally, I conclude you on telling, please grow as much of trees in and around you, because trees will be a greater saver for nature, and it generates an oxygen to greater level. And thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
On behalf of Directorate of Plant Protection Studies, we professionally thank Thri Vigneshwar P.V., Vanam India and Statistical Director. Thank you, sir.
As a token of gratitude, I would like to invite Dr. G. Ravi, Nodal Officer, ACNRI Nagapattinam, to honor the stakeholders. Firstly, Syngenta India Limited, Dr. C. Kameshwaran will be receiving the award. I would like to call upon Dr. Antonio and Dr. Lorino too on the stage. Followed by IPL Foundation, yes. Followed by IPL Foundation, yes. Sivaguranathan will be receiving the award. Followed by Cortiva Agri-Science, Dr. Edwin Rochbell Jaising will be receiving the award. Followed by Rallis India Private Limited, Dr. Kendappa will be receiving the award. Followed by Masu, Dr. I. Johnson will be receiving the award. Followed by BVN Instruments Madras Private Limited, Mr. Ravichandran will be receiving the award. Followed by Indophil, Mr. MP Mani will be receiving the award. followed by Vanam India Foundation. Mr. Vigneshwar PV will be receiving the award. Moving on to the honoring of panelists, I would like to call upon Dr. G. Ravi. I would like to call upon Dr. G. Ravi, Dr. Antonio Francisco, and Dr. Lorena to honor the delegates. The chairperson will be Bala Subramani. Sorry for the inconvenience. And followed by co-chairperson Dr. P. Chandramani, Professor and Head, Department of Entomology, ACNRI Madurai. Followed by the convener, Dr. P. S. Shanmugam, Associate Professor, Entomology, TNAU Coimbatore. Followed by the repetitors, Dr. Ram Jagadish, Associate Professor, and Dr. P. Vetrivel Kalai, Associate Professor, Nematology, TNAU Coimbatore. Thank you for honoring the delegates and the stakeholders. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for honoring the stakeholders and delegates. Let's break for tea for 10 minutes.
Coach. And now I request Dr. Soni Rajan, Assistant Director of Entomology, CBRC, Faridabad, and he will discuss about the regulation of pesticides in India with emphasis on One Health. I am proud to announce that he is the alumni of TNAU and he is one of my students. And also I request Dr. Antonio Francisco, he is the Director, ISPA, National Research Council of Italy. He is coming from Italy. I am thankful so much, sir. So within a short period of time, he got this e-visa and joined with us for the discussion on this panel discussion. And now I request Lorena Arena Maxwell. She's a scientist, plant pathology from World Vegetable Center, Taiwan. Though she has found it difficult to procure the funds for the transport. Somehow, Dr. Srinivasan Ramasamy, he made it available and send her for this conference. I am thankful to World Vegetable Center for their contribution. And Dr. Raman Ramachandran, former CMD, BASF, India, he will talk about the industrial perspectives in plant protection related to One Health. Sir, please take your seat, sir. Okay, sir. And also, I now request Edwin Rogbell. He is the South Asia Field Sciences Leader, Crop Protection, Discovery and Development, belonging to Cortiva Agri Sciences. I am proud to announce that he is also alumni of TNAU, 2 years junior to me. Edwin, please take your seat. And he'll be discussing about designing and developing sustainable crop protection solutions. And now I request Dr. Jayaraman, MD, Shristi Biosciences Private Limited, Hyderabad. Thank you so much, sir. He was very busy. He was traveling abroad. And based on our request, she has made him available for this panel discussion. He will be discussing about, he specialized in regenerative agriculture. So I have requested him to discuss about the regenerative agriculture towards One Health in modern era of plant protection. And now I request Dr. OVR, sir. He is a progressive farmer and more active farmer. So his contribution is very much for this Polachi farmers, especially coconut. So I request OVR, sir, to give his farmers' perspectives on adapting plant protection practices with One Health approach. So this panel discussion is aimed to discuss on the policy regulations in plant protection towards One Health. So this session will be moderated and also chaired by our Agriculture Commissioner, Dr. P.K. Singh, sir. So I request you, sir.
So thank you, madam, for introducing this session and the session players of this session. So let us first, I don't think that I should give any say opening remark on this. Let us first listen to all the speakers and then we will have some ideas or remarks, whatever we can frame out of that. So first of all, I welcome my co-chair and madam for this session and the speakers. And I think the reporters may be there. Kartikeyan, Jayarani and Srinivasan. So they will be noting on down the proceedings. So let us begin the session with a big round of applause for this session. Yeah. So first of all, I invite T. Sonai Rajan for his presentation.
Just introduce yourself first. And you will give your specialization. Let us have a first round of introduction. Then whether we can go further.
Okay, that although you have introduced everyone, so if you before you start, you just give your introduction, a little bit of it.
Thank you, sir. Respected Chairman, sir, and panelists and panel members, and the professors and others, good morning to all. Myself, I am Dr. Sonai Rajan. Basically, I'm an agricultural entomologist. Currently, I'm working as an assistant director, Bioefficacy Entomology Unit, Central Insecticide Board and Registration Committee. I'm mainly working on the registration of pesticides, biopesticides, and all the things. In addition to that, I'm also looking for the fixation of MRLs and public health and household insecticide pest registrations in India. Thank you.
So you can start your presentation. One by one, we can hear the presentation and then everyone will introduce after.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And since from the day one, here we are discussing more about One Health. So we don't want to go for more discussion about the One Health, but I would like to recall about the One Health and the way how it would be related to the regulation of plant protection substances in India. As we know very well about that, One Health is a multidisciplinary approach that interconnecting human health, animal health, and environmental health. With this, plant health is considered as an important component, and that directly impacts the human, animal, and environmental health. So, as we know, recently we are experiencing so many plant health issues, especially for the infection caused by the plant pathogens, pests, and nematodes. So several approaches are being used for control of these pathogens, pests, and nematodes. However, the chemical pesticides, the use of pesticides is considered as the most often method for the control of insect pests and disease-causing pathogens. So pesticide is mainly designed for the control of insect pests and plant pathogen and nematode, but in everywhere, globally, all the countries, pesticides are being used based on some regulations. In India also, since from long we are regulating the use of pesticides. In India, so there are some important pesticide act, as we all know very well about that Insecticide Act 1968 and Insecticide Rule 1971. The rule, it clearly says, the act, it clearly says to regulate the pesticides import, export, manufacture and use based on the toxic substances related to the human being and other things. So in India, the government of India has constituted a apex body. There are two bodies are there to regulate this insecticide in India. So number one is Central Insecticide Board. This board is coming under Section 4 of the Insecticide Act 1968. The main function of the board is to advise central and state government or any other research institutes, especially for the pesticides and related issues only. Number two, that is a registration committee. The registration committee has been constituted under Section 5 of the Insecticide Act. So this registration committee is mainly working for the safety and efficacy of the product. In registration committee itself, five different divisions are there. The first division is the legal divisions. They mainly work on the legal aspects. And the second one is chemistry. So the chemistry people, they used to assess and evaluate the chemical nature of the product. And the third one is the bioefficacy. Bioefficacy, they used to verify the efficacy and the toxic against natural enemies and phytotoxicities. And the fourth one is toxicity and how the molecule is causing toxic to animals and human being, they used to assess and evaluate. And the final one is the packaging divisions. So the guideline has already framed for all these five divisions point of view. And based on that, the CIB and RC, so they are working on for the registration of pesticides in India. CIB once in every 6 months, they used to conduct the meeting and they used to discuss about the molecules which want to include or introduce in the country. So if anyone want to introduce or include any molecule in an Indian registration means, first the product should be included in an insecticide schedule. If the product is not in the insecticide schedule, then it is not allowed to register in the country. So CIB is mainly giving the approval for the inclusion of the product in the insecticide schedule. And number two, any issues related to the pesticide substances that used to discuss by the board and board used to take decisions. There are 11 members are there in the board from various organizations from different ministries and directorates, and they used to discuss all the issues. And the second body, registration committee, every month they used to conduct the meeting and they used to give the approval for the registration of pesticides based on the safety and efficacy. So in addition to that, based on some national exigency issues, recently we have experienced some issues for the fall armyworm. And now we are facing a rugose peddling whitefly. CIBRC has given ad hoc approval for using some molecule until for getting a registration of a molecule, because up to October 2024, none of the molecule registered for against fall armyworm. I think only 2 molecules registered. But even though CIBRC has given ad hoc approval for using some effective molecules. In addition to that, one another best example is recently we are giving ad hoc approval for northeastern regions of Punjab for control of pink stump borer and fall armyworm on wheat. Because until now, as on date, none of the molecules are registered for the control of this pest. So, based on the request from the Punjab government and the State Agriculture University from Punjab, government has given the ad hoc approval for using some molecule, especially for fipronil and chlorantraniliprole, for using this against this pest. Number two, okay. So this act clearly says that the use of pesticides must be a registered one. So whenever we are issuing the registration certificate, along with the registration certificate, we used to issue the label and leaflet. And label and leaflet which carries all the information, especially for the chemical compositions and method of apply and direction of use and cautionary statement and anything else. For example, some of the molecules are toxic against natural enemies, and some of them it may toxic to honeybees or pollinators. That also we are when it has to be used and how it has to be used. That details are also we are giving through label and leaflet. And next one is with regarding to this One Health aspects. So we, the government of India, also taking efforts to encourage the plant health. So now indiscriminate use of pesticides that may cause the development of heritable resistance and resurgence and retaining of residues. So people they are talking integrated pest management is an effective method. It's a main and major part of the sustainable pest management. With this, biopesticide is considered as one of the important component that won't cause any toxic issues to the human being and animals. We, the Central Insecticide Board and Registration Committee, we have framed a guideline, simplified guideline for the registration of biopesticides. If the strain has already registered, so then the applicant, they don't want to generate all the data, just simply they want to submit the data for chemistry only. And within a short span of time, so we are giving a registration and government, we are encouraging to use of the biopesticides. And number two, in addition to that, we are not encouraging the highly toxic substances. We are always encouraging the green-based molecules. We are giving a priority of registration to that one also. And the next one is, yeah. So as I already mentioned clearly, some of the pesticides are highly toxic against pollinators. So in order to overcome these issues, so in our guideline itself, we clearly mentioned that toxicological effects on honeybee, that is a part of guideline. So we are assessing the effect of pesticides on honeybees, not only for honeybees and earthworms, and we are working on acute and dermal oral LD50 also. Based on this, in our label and leaflet, we used to give a cautionary statement when it should be applied, whether it should be pre-bloom stage or blooming stage or after blooming stage. So this is a time of application. And the next one is optimum dose of application of pesticide is crucial. If we will go for the higher amount of pesticides, sometimes that may cause phytotoxic effect or otherwise residue issues. Recently, 2024, the CIBRC, they have framed the standard operating procedure for use of drone-based application of pesticides. Through drone-based application of pesticides, we can give an optimum dose of pesticides to the plant. So in this way, we are encouraging for the optimum dose of application of pesticides. So the next one is, yeah, in bioefficacy part. So sometimes we have to evaluate the phytotoxic effect of the pesticide also. So this is a part of our guidelines. So whenever the industries, they are going to submit application for the registration of pesticide, they have to submit the data for phytotoxicity on a pest with the proposed dose and double dose. We have to check it that. Sometimes some excess dose also may cause some phytotoxic effect. But for that only, we fixed a proposed dose and double dose to assess the phytotoxicity of the pesticide on the crops. And number two, natural enemies also alternative is also considered as one of the important component for biological control of insect pests. And when they are going to evaluate the efficacy of the pest, they have to conduct the experiment against natural enemies under field condition also. That study must be conducted in 3 different geographical regions, and the pesticide should not cause any toxic effect, and that should not significantly reduce the natural enemy populations. Whenever we are scrutinizing the applications, we are giving a priority to these ones, and we are examining, and we used to raise a revisions and we used to ask the questions to the industry, especially for the toxic against this one. And the next one is recently we are experiencing some issues for export and import of agricultural commodities, especially for the pesticide residues. To overcome these issues, we, the Ministry of Agriculture, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Commerce, so we have developed some standard operating procedure, and that we are giving, transferring through the State Department of Agriculture to overcome the plant health issues. And Government of India, currently, we are closely working on the plant health, especially for the One Health. And these are all the regulations currently we are processing in India. Thank you so much, sir, for giving this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunay. So friends, what he has told, that we are now, once we are in the process of this perspective of One Health approach. So this gained importance after COVID-19, that many things we are now not only we should think only for us, we should think for all others. Say, for example, once, say this, any example you can take, a mosquito or a fly roaming inside your room is a pest when it is inside your room, but it may not be a pest outside because it is not harming you. It is not harming anything. So suppose this paint has a biocide in it, which can kill the insect inside. Do we need paints outside which can kill the pests, this flies and this one or not? So such kind of things, even such kind of things, because if we are using some pesticide outside to kill the flies, definitely some bird will come and use that dead body of that insect as their feed. So do we need to go to that extent that we can kill all the such kind of flies roaming here and there, and then create a problem for the birds? So such kind of discussions. Now we are for registering the the biocides for paints. We are discussing such kind of. So they thought, the paint industry thought that whatever biocides are good for the inside, they will be good for the outside also. But from other perspective, if you see, these are the small issues. So in that way, let us start thinking in this direction, that what kind of pest control we want in the future. Once we are in the perspective, we are promoting the perspective of One Health, that is health for all. So health for all means health for really all, not only health for all humans. It should be for all living beings. So with that background, I think, Sonai, you have given a very good oh yes, yeah, she can tell. She can tell.
அன்பார்ந்த விவசாயிகளுக்கு வணக்கம். டாக்டர் பிரவீன்குமார் சிங் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் கமிஷனர் இப்போ என்ன சொன்னார்னா, நம்ம நிறையா செயற்கை பூச்சிக்கொல்லி மருந்துகள் பயன்படுத்திட்டு இருக்கிறோம் பூச்சிகளை கட்டுப்படுத்த. அது இல்லாமல் நல்ல பூச்சிகளை கட்டுப்படுத்தக்கூடிய உயிரியல் பூச்சிக்கொல்லிகள் இருக்கு. அதை அதிகம் பயன்படுத்தும் போது பயிர்களுக்கு பயன்படுத்தும் போது பூச்சிகளை கட்டுப்படுத்த முடியும். அதே சமயத்தில் நமக்கு நன்மை செய்யக்கூடிய பூச்சிகள், விலங்குகள், பறவைகளை காப்பாற்ற முடியும். நம்ம இந்த பேனல்ல என்ன டிஸ்கஸ் பண்றோம்னா, நம்ம மனிதர்களுக்கு ஏற்படும் நன்மைகள் இல்லை எப்படி மனிதர்களை பாதுகாப்பது அப்படிங்கிறத பத்தி மட்டும் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணாம, பயிர்களுக்கு பாதுகாப்பானது, மனிதர்களுக்கு, விலங்குகள் மற்றும் நம்ம சுற்றுச்சூழலுக்கும் பாதுகாப்பான பூச்சி மற்றும் நோய் மேலாண்மையை எப்படி மேற்கொள்வது அப்படிங்கறத இந்த பேனல்ல டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ண போறோங்கிறத ஷார்ட்டா சொல்லியிருக்கேன். தேங்க்யூ சார்.
So the second presentation is by Dr. Antonio Francesco Logri. So he is Director, ISPA, National Research Council of Italy.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for this kind invitation. This is my great pleasure to stay here. This is not this is the second time that I come in India. This is every time is very exciting. I like to talk, and I'd like also to thanks to all local organizers, in principal Dr. Parani and Dr. Shanti, that they helped me also to getting visa. So this is we have some trouble. Anyway, so my talk will be related to food safety, in particular about mycotoxin issues. So this is I will present to you just a brief overview about mycotoxin concern at the global level, and then some aspect related to regulation and some aspect related to ethical issues. Okay, I come from Italy. I was the director of Institute of Science of Food Production, and now is I'm working as a team leader in Hangzhou in China. So this is, as you know, mycotoxin is a big issue, is a big concern at the global level. And then these various crops can be contaminated by mycotoxin. This is not just one, but it's really huge amounts of crops. And then this is due to the different conditions that can be favorable to mycotoxin accumulation due to the environmental, host, and pathogen. And interaction of these three parameters can be facilitate the mycotoxin contamination due to the toxic fungi grow on the plants. This is not a fixed part, but is, of course, is very mobile in terms of condition. So this is, I'd like to just point out the importance of mycotoxin on two important and crucial crops at the world level, wheat and maize. And then you can see how many products can be used for for starting from these important crops. And then what I'd like to emphasize, it is for each crops, there is not just one genus or one species, but generally there are a complex of species that can co-occur on the same plants and then belong to different species and produce different toxins. So this is, we have not just one risk about one toxin, but it is multi-mycotoxin risk. And then there is different genus and different mycotoxin in terms of toxicity. We have previously we have seen the Fusarium, but also we have Aspergillus, as you know, Aspergillus flavus for aflatoxin and the Fumonisin is concerned. This is just a map about of aflatoxin maize, and this is a map about of Fumonisin maize. As you can see, the risk is worldwide. So this is really a great concern about these two toxins at the global level. Moving on wheat, we have the same or similar approach in terms of the complexity of disease. We are talking about head blight, Fusarium head blight, and this is due to the different species. And then each of the species produce different toxin. Again, different. We have multi-mycotoxin. And often these mycotoxin may have a synergistic effect in terms of toxicity. But we have also Alternaria, black point, that produce other toxin and due to different mycotoxin, as you can see in these slides. This is just a risk about the DON. This is one of the major concerns at the global level about of wheat and DON. So this is really great importance. These slides show you how each samples can be contaminated by different secondary metabolites, by different mycotoxin, and then how these mycotoxin correspond to different Fusarium species. That is really multi-mycotoxin and multi-species occurring on the same crops. This is biodiversity in mycotoxin, but has also biodiversity in toxic fungi. And in order to combat these mycotoxin issues, we need to know in deep what is the origin, what is biodiversity, which species are our enemy, what we have to combat. And this is, we enter in an open, really big open area in terms of biodiversity. This is just what previously was nominated as Fusarium graminearum. That is just a complex of species. Now, due to the molecular approach, we have a different species, subspecies occurring in different parts of the world. And then this is a chemotype distribution at the global level, about of 15, triacetyl and invalinol. As you can see, the distribution is different. But this distribution is just not curiosity. This distribution means that since each of toxin has a different toxicity, that means that the population in different parts of the world are exposed to different toxicity. That is really crucial. This is very important strategic issues to know the risk of population to this towards this mycotoxin. And this is just another map made during international project. The distribution of different chemotypes in different parts of the world. As you can see, are different chemotypes, but unfortunately, there is a lack of data about India. So I think that also some additional efforts about to complete this map should be very interesting. Anyway, these are also another mycotoxin risk is due to aflatoxin in peanuts, and there is really particularly concern in the tropical area. That anyway, so this is what I like to. Yeah, this is also about the climate change that has importance in terms of to create may facilitate this toxigenic fungi and then mycotoxin occurrence in different parts of the crops. How we can combat, how we can minimize mycotoxin. We can, as you know, the mycotoxin can be up and long chain, where we can do the prevention in pre-harvest in field, but also in post-harvest reduction, we have some handle. So this is some different measures that we can use as agricultural good agricultural practice, including resistance, fungicides, agronomic, biological control, predictive models in the field. If we move on the post-harvest, we have physical, chemical, biological, as a sorting, absorption, use of acid, ozonization, microorganism, and enzyme. So for this complexity, we have some possible solution, not to eliminate. This is absolutely not possible, but just to minimize. That is our key words, minimize mycotoxin effect during the long chain. So, but of course, the pre-harvest is quite complex, is a limited control problem and the side effect of corrective action. If we move on post-harvest, it's more simple. Good agricultural practice, limit toxin accumulation and no side effects. So it's more easy to handle as a post-harvest than pre-harvest. But moving on, toxin production, as you know, this is the main toxin regulated toxin. And then you can see this is a wonderful picture that you show you the different toxic effect of mycotoxin. And then all these main toxins have an immunotoxic effect that is really strong and common toxicity for all these metabolites. And this means that they work perfectly as a synergistic activity in reducing the immunity. And then, of course, all the animal, human are more exposed to different toxic, different other disease. Just as example about you're well known about of human impact of toxin with some really severe disease also in India, and then the different chronic attack, particularly the liver cancer. So this is a toxin. Think about this is the most cancerogenic compound, natural compounds in the world. The most cancerogenic natural compounds, aflatoxin, is unbelievable. And this is also an effect of animals, chicken, but there is a chronic effect and the pathogenic effect, but it's chronic, also in order to reduce the production of chicken. This is just different toxicity towards different animals. Anyway, going towards the regulation. So this is every year this is improving of attention about of regulation worldwide. And then this is show you the different mycotoxin regulation in different countries related to the food and the feed. As you can see, if we look at the food, we have Europe has more regulated continents, followed by North America, Asia, and Latin America, and last is Africa. Moving on feed, we have North America that is keep more attention, followed by Europe. So there is two different regulation that is not understandable because, of course, particularly for the human, we have the same, the toxin can be affected, have the same effect towards human in Asia, in Europe, in Africa. So it's not well understandable, this kind of different regulation. But anyway, this is what is happening. About, for example, a comparison between Europe and Africa, you can see there are different regulation and different force of regulation. So EU, for example, have a regulation for 12 mycotoxin. Africa country have just 15 African countries have regulation. That means almost 60% of population. Most countries not regulated, but say that regulation need. And that's not a problem, does not exist. And for small scale, substantial system regulation has failed. So this is really big differences in terms of regulation. And as our friends is an analyst from India, he emphasizes, underlined the difference and the cost about of toxin contamination in Africa. This is a huge in terms of losses And also the important things that he underlined, but I will also talk about later, is the best quality is exported and the poor quality consumed domestically. That is not be acceptable. That is part of ethical issues that we have to take in account. So this is, of course, the problem. Mycotoxin is also a big effect in terms of trade, and then you can see it is just how many crops can be can have this problem in mycotoxin trade in trade exchange in the rest of the world towards Europe. And then this is a long list: maize, cereals, coffee, pistachio nuts, peanuts, soda nuts, spice, and you well know what's happened. So this is just, I'd like to emphasize that how mycotoxin have a really impact in terms of rapid alert system for food and feed in Europe. And then just some years ago, we under umbrella of a big project of a key project, we launch of a mycotoxin charter. So this is just the paper on mycotoxin that emphasize the importance of awareness about of mycotoxin and how we can minimize mycotoxin exposure worldwide. That is just the important point that we have to underline. So we consider unacceptable that practices to reduce mycotoxin contamination exist, and the resources and the efforts are available to implement these practices can be insufficient and multiple points along the food chain. Second part, we cannot consider unacceptable that the inspection, regulatory, and enforcement capability often are inadequate, especially in developing countries, and when applied are not applied uniformly. The third one is high quality food may be exported, leaving poorer quality food to be consumed domestically, with the poorest members of the society often exposed to the highest level of mycotoxin. This is not acceptable for this ethical point of view. And then there are also injustifiable inequality in opportunity for people to access food that contains level of mycotoxin below the considered safe for human consumption. People suffering from chronic hunger, who are malnourished and have a stunted growth, are also exposed to higher level of mycotoxin. And finally, the issue here, 10 of thousands of tons of food produced for human consumption are wasted due to the high level of mycotoxin contamination. This is really important. So, and this with our idea is that in the near, our suggestion that in the near future, mycotoxin problem is expected to have a still more importance due to the variable factors as consequence of climate change, fungicide resistance, and the spread of toxic fungal population at the global level. And although most of all of countries have mycotoxin regulation for at least aflatoxin, there is still lack of a specific mycotoxin regulation or a poor regulatory and control system, especially in the developing countries, which are usually the most exposed to mycotoxin risk. Greater dietary diversification and less dependency on specific crops is crucial to reduce the level of mycotoxin exposure. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Antonio, for a very nice and elaborate presentation. So any questions or query arising out of his presentation? You are open to answer. Any questions from the audience? Anyone? Okay, so you want to ask something? So just after questions. So you wanted to ask something.
Dr. Antonio, it's very nice that you would see a great information about mycotoxin. And most of the reports say that people take this contaminated food and leads to a lot of cancer. This report across available. Now coming to India, what is the status? Do you have any policy on mycotoxin monitoring, testing, regulation, enforcement? Is it in the purview of FSSAI?
Actually, this is not in the purview of Insecticide Act. This is in the purview of FSS Act 2006. The Ministry of Health and Ministry of Health, they are dealing, but it's included in the FSS Act
This
2006.
conference should have some decision for the government.
Yes.
This can be possible. It's an important topic. Many times he says that poor people take mycotoxin. Rich people take, pure food. That is a very big issue. It has to be addressed. Thank you.
So it is only perception. That's up, that these people are taking good food. We don't know what is being processed. So during last year, I think TNAU submitted a project to Animal Husbandry Department for how we are going to sample out the maize which is going for the feed, poultry feed. So TNAU has submitted a project and we approved that, and also expanded its purview that you go also have a sampling procedure so that FSSAI can adopt that sampling procedure for this one. So I think someone must be working here on that. And for DDGS also, that is after producing ethanol from this maize, what is the level of this aflatoxins in the DDGS, which is going in the feed industry. Even though FSSAI and others have made a norm that not more than 20% of DDGS should be added in the feed, but still, if there is any scope to check the mycotoxins or the aflatoxins in such kind of material. But we at the level of Government of India, we are promoting good agriculture practices for maize cultivation so that minimum aflatoxins can be produced. So that kind of agronomy with good agriculture practices, we are promoting it on large, and we have a WhatsApp group also for maize production to reduce aflatoxins and fall armyworm in problem in the this one. So anywhere, if some report is coming, we are trying to analyze that, and then we are trying to give the advisory, whatever is required. So that is the development. So just for translation for the farmers, someone can.
விவசாயிகளுக்கு அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். நம்மளுடைய தற்பொழுது பேசிய முனைவர் அன்டோனியோ அவர்கள் இத்தாலி மாகாணத்தின் ஆராய்ச்சி கழகத்தினுடைய இயக்குனராக உள்ளார். அவர் இந்த பூஞ்சானத்தினால் உண்டாகக்கூடிய உணவுப் பொருட்களில் உண்டாகக்கூடிய நச்சு பொருட்கள் சம்பந்தமாக பேசினார். எந்தெந்த நாடுகளிலெல்லாம் உள்ளன, எவ்வாறு பரவுகின்றன, ஒவ்வொரு நாட்டிலும் என்னென்ன அதுக்கு உண்டான கட்டுப்படுத்தும் முறைகள் மற்றும் அதற்குண்டான சட்டத்திட்டங்கள் உள்ளன என்பதை பற்றி மிக விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறியுள்ளார். மேலும் இந்த கோதுமையிலையும் மற்றும் மக்காச்சோளத்திலையும் வரக்கூடிய அந்த நச்சு பொருட்கள் அது எவ்வாறு பரவி இருக்கிறது, ஒவ்வொரு யூரோப்பில் கம்மியாக இருக்குது, மற்ற கண்டங்களில் அதிகமாக இருப்பதை பற்றியும் விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறினார். அதற்குண்டான அதை உற்பத்தி பண்ணக்கூடிய அந்த ஜீனையும் கண்டுபிடிச்சிருக்கிறதாகவும் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. ஒரு சில மைக்கோ கீன்னு சொல்லிட்டு பூஞ்சான சாவி போன்ற இதை பேஸ் பண்ணி எப்படி எப்படிலாம் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணலாம், கண்டுபிடிக்கலாம் அப்படிங்கிறத பற்றி விளக்கமாக சொன்னதோடு மட்டும் இல்லாமல் இந்த மாறுபட்ட சீதோஷ்ண நிலை தான் முக்கியமான காரணம் இந்த பூஞ்சான நெஞ்சுக்கள் வரத்துக்கு அப்படிங்கிறத சொன்னதோட மட்டும் இல்லாமல் மேலே அதை எப்படி கட்டுப்படுத்துவது, ஹார்வெஸ்ட்டுக்கு முன்பு எப்படி, அறுவடைக்கு பின்பு எப்படி என்று கட்டுப்படுத்துவது பற்றியும் விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறினார்கள். குட். அதே போல் நம்மளுடைய கமிஷனர் அவர்கள் பேசும்போது மிக விளக்கமாக கூறினார்கள். நம்ம மக்காச்சோளத்தில் எவ்வாறு உள்ளது, அதற்கு தமிழ்நாடு வேளாண்மை பல்கலைக்கழகம் கொடுத்த திட்டங்களை பற்றியும் விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறியதோடு மட்டுமில்லாமல் அதற்கு நம்ம அறுவடைக்கு முன்பு மற்றும் அறுவடைக்கு பின்பு கடைபிடிக்க வேண்டிய நம்மளுடைய தொழில்நுட்பங்களை கடைபிடித்தாலே, நல்ல தொழில்நுட்பங்களை கடைபிடித்தாலே கட்டுப்படுத்தி விடலாம் என்று எடுத்துரைத்தார்கள். நன்றி.
So thank you, Antonio, for this very elaborate presentation. Now we move on to Dr. Lorena Aaron Maxwell. She is scientist of plant pathology, WVC, Taiwan. So Dr. Lorena, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Is good morning or afternoon? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Just for the brief introduction, in the past 2 days, I see a lot of people were curious to know where I'm from. So I am originally from Mozambique. This is in the southern part of Africa. And my official language is Portuguese. So I hope I will talk slowly so you can understand my accent. And one funny thing or linkage with India is that the Portuguese find my country looking for India. So they were looking for India and they land in Mozambique. So I work at the World Vegetable Center, and I want to say we are very, very grateful for the collaboration we have with TNAU, mainly with the crop protection team, plant pathology and entomology. We always receive students, visiting scientists, and we are open. So one of the first policies I want to share is that World Vegetable Center is a open science center, and we welcome always students and visiting scientists, and we are honored to have TNAU scientists and students in our campus every year. Since I joined, we always have someone from TNAU in Taiwan. So thank you for all the support and collaboration. So our conference focused more on the One Health approach. So besides plant health, plant protection, the One Health approach recognizes the human health, animal health, and the environment that are interconnected. And I will be talking about biological control. I work with biological control, and policies is one of the bottleneck for successful use of biological control with farmers. And in my view, biological control aligns very well with One Health approach because besides of protecting the plant by reducing the application of pesticides that we know it can harm humans, the person applying, it can reduce the residues for the feeds or animals that consume also the plants. But also we know that reduce contamination and pollution in the environment and enhances biodiversity. So is biological control touches every framework of the One Health approach. But however, regulatory pathway of biological control are often more stringent and time consuming. Now, I know those people who work on chemical pesticides, we know that chemical pesticides also has a long process, but it's more clear. There is a process in place and sometimes it's very similar across countries, it's very global known. It can take time. Of course, they have to prove they are safe as well. But with biological control is still much more complex, much more, how will say, very different from country to country, what complicates even more commercialization. I know India, actually, I want to congratulate India. India is one of the countries that is, compared to many other countries, is advancing in policies for biological control. We still have to work, but it's still out there. There is a lot of biological and companies as well, many companies working on producing biologicals. But if India wants to sell to Nepal, for example, a chemical pesticide is going to be easier to register compared to a biological. So it means that there are few disparities that we have to work on. Another problem, mainly for plant protection, when we talk about biological control for pest and disease control, for example, compared to biofertilizer for soil fertilization, you can see that you can have the same microorganism, say a bacillus, that also has capabilities to enhance soil nutrients and also control a soil-borne disease. It's easy to register that microorganism has a biofertilizer the process might be easier compared to register INFIs to control a disease. Why? Maybe the experts can reply, because I know you mentioned that in the government you have different sectors and one of them is safety. If the major problem is about safety, it's the same microorganism, but it will be easier if we say it's biofertilizer. So these are few of the things that we need to discuss and continue to work on policy on biological control. So I want to leave three recommendations on my view, working on biological control. And World Veg, we work in different countries. In India, for example, we are much happier that there are few products available. But for example, if we go to Indonesia or other places, they don't have any, and they don't have many policies in place. So we have these differences in progress. So one of the first recommendation is that we need an harmonized science-based regulation. Different chemicals, different mode of action, different type of microbe synergies. They need to have an harmonization how we will actually regulate biological controls. Also within countries, for example, within regions, if we can work together, because we not just want to consume, use on our countries, but maybe commercialize. The companies want to commercialize. So if within our region, let's say our neighbors here in India, Nepal, Bangladesh, if we can sit together as a government and discuss how can we harmonize regulations for biological control, maybe it will be easy to advance this agenda of having a clear, more easy and less stringent registration of biological control, because for biological controls, the bottleneck is registration. We can do good field trials, we can do identify good microbes, but then when it comes to registration, the companies always have to spend a lot of money, longer time to have that product registered. Another thing I have here that is important is collaboration, across different sectors. One is to promote and to produce biocontrol, and that will help in the policy. I was actually very happy from the previous section when the private sector was mentioned that they have MOU with TNAU for field trials and testing the biocontrol. That's helped a lot, because if more companies can collaborate with research centers for data, for creating good science base, it will be easy also for the policymakers to see the data, to streamline more biological controls. There is something often that is very interesting. For example, we have a disease. You can find several chemical products for one disease or pest. Several for whitefly, you can have different or two chemical pesticide, but biological control, sometimes you just find one, only that one, and people are happy. No, we need different as well. We need to rotate. So it's very important that for one health approach, not only TNAU, crop protection should collaborate with these private sectors, but also the environmental department will join on the experiment. So we already gather more data for environmental, the medical department as well for human data. So you gather already the data, and this may be easy for policymaker to find a process, a more streamlined and fast way to promote more registration of biological control. And my last strategy is, of course, is educate and incentivize stakeholders to adopt biological control, mainly the farmers. I feel like the farmers still have some hesitation because, of course, it's their crop. They want to protect their crop. They don't want to gamble with their crop. But there is that hesitation. The biological control is slow, is not more effective. So if they don't claim for the importance of biological control, also is not going to be in the importance of the policymaker because the farmer is not giving the importance. So we need to create more awareness. We need to incentivize more use of biological control. One example that comes in mind, I did my PhD in the US. In the US, when you go to a supermarket and it has a logo of organic, automatically people think is healthy, is environmentally friendly, you are doing good to the world and society of eating organic. But for biological control, people don't associate with that. But we know that has the same value. If a farmer uses biological control to protect their plant, is producing healthier, safe food, is thinking about the biodiversity environment. So we need to also put the biological control as this premium, I will say product, but also way of living. Um, so I think if we give the importance of biological control and the play roles on One Health approach, it will also help push the policymakers. It will also help push people to adopt and use biological control. So I think these are the few strategies I thought that may help in advanced policies that can help biological control to gain importance in the context of One Health. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Laudina. Yes, you have talked about a very complex system, biological control, because we cannot see biological control agents from just one perspective of biological control agent. On what environment they are to be applied, what are the varieties being cultivated there. Say some insect tolerant variety comes. So your whole system has a change now. Now that you have, then the biological control agent cannot survive on that variety, that pest, which would have affected the that variety. So this whole chain, it is very difficult to manage, and that is the main reason why biological controls are not getting that kind of importance in the system. Because once a farmer is in the field, say his crop of brinjal is going to be affected by some borer, so he will not wait for the biological control agents to come and then save his crop. He just go for some chemical or some other system. And but if that insect is coming regularly in a particular area, in a particular environment, then yes, government can have some strategy that this kind of biological control agents can be released in that area for a long period, so that they can have a natural presence in the environment, and then whenever that insect or something is coming, they can control it, automatically control. But if you think that once, because most of the treatment in India, whether it is human or crop or anyone, we are going in for symptom based treatments. So once a symptom is there, so you have very limited time to control the insects through biocontrol agents. That is the issue. And that's how we have to plan. Yes, you are very rightly said that it is a complex process, so it involves a lot of investment in terms of R&D. So in that case, definitely there should be a very strong PPP, public private partnership kind of infrastructure. Many companies can take benefit of whatever is being researched at some institution like TNAU. TNAU has, say, 10 very good biocontrol agents. So they should, the companies, private companies, they should come and then pay for the license fees or something. That kind of structure is required. Everybody cannot work in the field to develop some such kind of thing. So a strategy should be like we should identify the important environment, important insects on which biocontrol agents are to be used. Say nematodes, very good systems can be developed because it is present everywhere. Nematodes are present on a very large scale. If some biocontrol agent comes for nematode, yes, it will be accepted by all and it will survive in the field for throughout the year. You don't have to release it season after season or behind the crop every time. So such kind of systems, if comes, be at you said something about the time and duration of the cost involved in registration and regulation. Nothing. It is peanuts as compared to the research cost. We don't take time for biocontrol agents. We are giving one. We call it as 93B. That is provisional registration immediately, not even taking more than 3 to 4 months, I think. So the moment these applications come, we are going in for provisional registration. So that is not a big issue. The big issue is how much we can produce, how much we can release in the environment, and how it is going to establish in the environment for sustainable presence in the environment. That is the more important. So thank you. Anyone else can ask any question. So if not, then for some translation. So someone wanted to ask? Yes, please come. You can come in the front so that we can hear you. Now it is working, please.
Good afternoon, ma'am. So myself Shruti. I work on biocontrol too. So my question is that we use biocontrol agent because it is known to control several insect and pests. But after several studies, after a long period of study, when it comes to a position that some of the biocontrol agents comes out as pathogenics, so to even to humans. So how do you think we have to deal with such problems?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Another to add to this question is metabolites. A lot of people, mainly when we deal with microbes, they ask us about toxicity or metabolites, mainly is antibiosis. That's my personal opinion. It's not very scientific, big. It's just my thinking. For example, I will give a case of aflatoxin. I work a lot in developing biocontrol for aflatoxin. And one of the strategy of biological control of aflatoxin is number one, when we look for the biological control, we look for a microorganisms already present in that area. Is there, okay? So we are not introducing something new, is there? So the same question is, if it was there, if I just add to reduce my population, all other question is there. It was there before. I'm not bringing any new thing in the system. Is there, if it was producing something, it was in the environment. That's my thinking. So the strategy to address this complex of questions is not that we are introducing maybe I didn't make clear on the different type of mode. I think one of the strategies reduce a lot the introduction, but manipulating the beneficial in that environment. And one of the things we do is the process is the same. We are in India, we look for a same genetically qualified a toxigenic microbe that is able to control, but is from this region. For example, we will have maybe a isolate from Tamil Nadu, that can control aflatoxin from Tamil Nadu. And then very far from here, I don't know all the states of India, somewhere very far, we might have another microorganism. So to answer your question, in terms of pathogenicity, what makes pathogenicity, in my opinion, or is the damage and the quantity. So we need to control that. So we need to balance the environment. So when we bring the biocontrol is to balance the pathogen that it was there. Usually we will have make the studies, the R&D, the tests to ensure that that microorganism is not pathogenic to most of the crops or in the area to human, to other crops. We will not choose this as our candidate to help. Now, if in the future it changes, it's because of mutation and maybe we cannot control that. I don't have a specific question for you, but if we do our homework of good R&D, make this value chain of different private sector, research sector, everybody who can help in this process, not just a company trying to do everything. Maybe we can reduce the level and the percentage of success. And we have a lot of success of biological control. Actually, we pay more attention to failures than the success. I think we have a lot of success, and I think it's a good system because now people are looking, chemicals also are dangerous. A lot of people die with cancer and many things, but is not always focused on that, but for biocontrol, we focus on that. I think if we want to look at one health approach in the environment, of course, it's not a perfect system, but it can work. There is a system that can work. Thank you. Rashmi?
Sir, I would like to add few points to Lorena. So, Lorena, as you mentioned that we have to encourage new formulations with new mode of action of pesticide and biopesticide for the control of insect pest. So the stand of our India, I would like to clarify to you, from the government of India, we are encouraging the registration of new formulation of insecticide with new mode of action. And recently we have framed the definition for new formulation of insecticide also. So we are giving a priority for the registration of pesticides, not like other things for new pesticides. We are encouraging with the different formulations with mode of action. And second thing is that, as you mentioned that for biopesticides, we need to have a frequent discussion with the stakeholders and the researchers and other things. We, the Ministry of Agriculture, frequently we used to organize an open house meeting with the Biopesticide Association and industries and stakeholders also. We used to get the comments and we are encouraging them to go for the registration of pesticide. As our chairman sir, he clearly mentioned that. So in India, the registration of biopesticide, it's not that much big deal. So we are simplifying the guideline and the time frame for the registration of biopesticide is so very less compared to other states. So the simplified guideline, if the strain has already registered, it is not required to go for the data generation from all the angle, even toxicity, bioefficacy, because already someone has generated, so the strain has registered. So if you are going to change a formulation or active ingredient or CFU count, then you need to generate. So this is a common thumb rule. So the main concern is safety and efficacy. So we, the government of India, we have simplified the guideline and registration process, and we are encouraging our farmers and regulatory people to go for the registration and use of the biopesticides. So these points I'm supporting for your presentation. Thank you.
Again, I just want to congratulate. Actually, I feel like India and Brazil are one of the countries who have a very good policy on biological control compared to others. So congratulations to that. And I think maybe in the future, India can serve as a model for others in this process. Regarding efficacy, again, we can strengthen with collaboration, I think, with research institutes, with private sector. I think that part, if we can encourage more group association, and for what's efficacy and the other part, it was safety. And for safety, I think is more about concept, in my opinion. Of course, everything is dangerous until it does, or until nothing is safe forever. Even water can kill people. So I think it has to be in a reasonable concept or understanding. Of course, we always have to be careful. do the correct tests, metabolites, etc. But the concept of safety in some regard can be very tricky. Thank you.
அன்புள்ள விவசாயிகளுக்கு நம்மளுடைய உலக காய்கறி நிறுவனம் தைவானில் உள்ளது. அதிலிருந்து வந்துள்ள முனைவர் லொரினா மேக்ஸ்வெல் அவர்கள் ஒரு நோயியல் வல்லுநர். அவர் இந்த நோய்களை கட்டுப்படுத்துவதில் உயிரியல் முறையின் முக்கியத்துவத்தை பற்றியும் தமிழ்நாடு வேளாண்மை பல்கலைக்கழகம் எவ்வாறு அவர்களுடன் இணைந்து செயல்படுகின்றது என்பதை பற்றி விளக்கினார்கள். இந்த ஒரே நலம் என்ற தலைப்பில் நாம் பேசிக் கொண்டிருக்கும் போது தாவர நலம், மனித நலம் மற்றும் சுற்றுப்புற நலத்திற்கு ஏற்றது இந்த உயிரியல் முறை கட்டுப்பாடு என்பதை மிக விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறியதோடு மட்டுமில்லாமல் இந்தியா இந்த உயிரியல் முறைகளை பயன்படுத்துவதிலும் சரி, அதை பதிவு செய்தல், அதற்கு தேவையான திட்டங்களை ஏற்படுத்துதல், உற்பத்தி செய்தல் போன்றவைகளை முன்னிலை வைப்பதாக மற்றும் மேலும் கூறினார்கள். ஆனால் அந்த திட்டங்கள், பாலிசி என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய திட்டங்கள் அறிவியல் சார்ந்து இருக்க வேண்டும் என்பதையும் விளக்கியதோடு மட்டுமல்லாமல் அந்த பதிவு செய்தலில் உள்ள குறைபாடுகள் பற்றி கூறினார்கள். ஆனால் நம்மளுடைய கமிஷனர் அவர்கள் சொல்லும்போது மற்ற கெமிக்கலை கம்பேர் பண்ணும்போது உயிரியல் முறைகள் எளிது, பதிவு செய்வது எளிது என்பதை மிக விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறினார்கள் என்பதை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். நன்றி.
Okay, thank you. So now we move on to Dr. Raman Ramchandran, Pharmacy MD of BASF, India.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you and good afternoon and members on the dais. Quick introduction of myself, ma'am. Might be surprising for you to know that I am an alumni of this college. 50 years ago, I joined this college. So in fact, our alumni is going to planning to celebrate our 50th, get together. So it's a great privilege to be invited back to this campus after so many years. So thank you very much for that honor. So yeah, I went on to do my master's at IRI and a PhD outside, and I spent my first 6 years in research in places like Erie, ECP, and University of Wisconsin in Madison. And then I moved into the industry where I did a number of roles from all the way from R&D to regulatory to eventually running businesses. I was the managing director of BASF and also another company our commissioner might know called PI Industries, which is out of Udaipur. But then currently I'm back to academics. I'm the dean and director of a business school in Mumbai called KJ Somaya Institute of Management. So I'm going to really talk about, my fairly long, I almost feel ancient because you had very kindly deputed one of your associate professors to receive me at the airport. And as I was speaking to him, I told him that I graduated from this college in 1979, and he gently reminded me that he was born in 1977. So, so I feel a little bit ancient. So one thing that comes with this anciency is that you have a lot of experiences that I can share with from this perspective. So let me start with this One Health, which is this inextricable, that's the right word, interrelation between the humans, animals, and plant and environment. See, in ancient civilizations like India, this is nothing new. We've been talking about this 100, 200 years ago about how we need to look at these things in a very comprehensive way. So it's a little bit ironical that, 200 years later, we are here kind of revisiting that topic. And at least it's good that we are revisiting it. Now, why is this important in a country like India, with 1.5 billion people and about 550 million livestock and the kind of biodiversity that we have in this country? I think this concept of One Health, which has stemmed from this zoonotic diseases and how it transmits from living organisms to humans has very, very high importance. However, anything that we do with One Health also needs to be seen in the context of India's food and nutritional security, because at the end of the day, we are going to be 1.5 billion people in the next 20 to 30 years. As we become more, our per capita income increases, we are going to be consuming more and more protein from alternate, kind of sources. And hence the pressure on agriculture is going to be humongous, right? And so sometimes when we talk about One Health, there is a tendency to always think about organic farming, etc., as the solution to One Health. But what we need to remember is that that may not be a solution, but sustainable intensification of agriculture is finally the real solution to having a One Health kind of approach to meeting the nutritional and food security and also making sure that we have a healthy life. Now, it has been proven that while sustainable intensification of agriculture increases production, it does even probably better than water use efficiency compared to organic agriculture. There are downsides to it. It affects biodiversity, it emits more greenhouse gases. But at the end of the day, a country like India, we need to, think about the trade-offs between these various options and choose the right option for the larger population. So that's the context in which, I think the role of industry has become extremely important. And I'm going to talk about how industry is contributing to this in three broad areas. One is really industry has contributed in the last 50, 100 years in terms of coming up with innovations for safer alternatives. As the regulations have gone up, as we start to recognize adverse effects of some of our solutions, I think the industry has stepped up and really brought in newer and newer solutions. Even in the conventional crop protection area, I think the number of the new products that are coming in and our representative from the regulatory agency talked about how India is really helping to speed up registration of newer and newer molecules. Many of these new molecules are very, very benign from an environmental, from a human perspective. So I think that's a big push from the R&D side that many big companies have made, which has resulted in that. But even more important is the how industry is using technologies like the GMO technology and CRISPR technology to even produce planting materials which are much better, an inherent kind of disease and insect protection. Now, as a part of BSF, we have a seed company and we have an R&D center in Bangalore. In crops like tomatoes and brinjal, there is no more breeding for increasing the productivity of a crop. Most of the breeding is aimed at reducing, imparting viral resistance to these crops. So these are the technologies that is really helping to bring in newer technologies. I want to particularly talk about one topic, that Maxwell brought out, which is how biocontrol and biological organisms are increasingly playing a role. And here I want to talk about a small experience. I'm associated with a company called Godavari Biorefineries, which is a sugar company which makes ethanol and has a captive sugarcane farming area of about 100,000 hectares in the state of Karnataka. And here we really are now, gaining a lot in improving soil health by isolating inoculum microorganisms in and around the catchment area and able to then cultivate it and then give it back, just as you said, to enhance the level of microbial. The second area where industry has really played a huge role is sustainable practices that we are able to introduce, because at the end of the day, I think the number of people that are meeting farmers from an industry side is much more than many state agricultural extension services. And while there would be a profit motive in each of our ag salespeople, it is important to recognize that many companies are doing, phenomenal work in terms of introducing sustainable practices. Again, I go back to the company that I'm currently associated with, Godavari Biorefineries, which actually has mapped 100,000 acres of catchment area on soil nutrient levels in sugarcane. And they know exactly where what micronutrient is deficient. So we are able to really, interventions which are very, very specific to that. One last example from the industry on this area that I want to talk about is a company called String Bio, whose founder actually come from this city called Eril Subayan, who kind of graduated in MIT and they set up a company. They make protein by using methane. But one of their byproduct is a product called clean rice, which if you apply, it's a biological inoculum, which you apply in rice, reduces methane emission in rice by more than 50%. And we all know that rice cultivation is one of the biggest sources of greenhouse gas emission in the world, contribute to almost 2 to 3% of the greenhouse gas emission. So those are some examples. And the third one is the whole area of data and digitization, where Indian startups are playing a huge role in enabling, sustainable agriculture to be practiced. And let me give you two examples. A company called Krishi Tantra, which uses IoT-enabled devices to really understand soil moisture at a very, very precise level and make recommendations to farmer on really effective use of application of irrigation. So that's one example. The second example that I wanted to also highlight is again a company out of Bangalore called SatSure, which has been in existence for almost 15 years, which have really kind of gone to the cutting edge of using satellite images across the world to predict yields of crops. Today, they are working for companies like Olam so that Olam can have future, pricing of cashew nuts in Ghana. That's the level to which digitization and data is currently being used. And Indian startup companies are, using this. And at any point in time today, there are probably upwards of 250 startups in the area of agricultural innovation, which is coming up with number of innovative areas, not just on the supply chain front, but also on helping farmers to make the right decisions in terms of crop protection. So that's quickly the role that industry is playing now, as an industry representative. And if I have to take an industry perspective, I need to talk about the ask of industry from a regulatory and policy making. Some of it, Maxwell, you already shared, but I will just repeat that. I think one thing I must say is that Indian regulators have been very, very rapid in coming up with regulations which are, meeting the need of the time. You talked about the rapid biological registration for biological agents. I think the second most recent thing that comes to my mind is that India is probably one of the few countries where you have an ability to register a biological chemical combination product, which I believe at least you are working on the guidelines. I was told, I've been kind of disconnected with the industry for a couple of years. It's not there, but I would recommend that you should look at it because that is one way that you can really reduce the load of chemical pesticides in crops. And there are, quite a number of such examples, which, leads me to believe that the Indian regulatory agency is really kind of thinking about how to enable industry to come up with the right good practices. Yeah. But however, as you pointed out, regulatory topic and developing a product for a market today is a very, very expensive affair. It takes, for a chemical product, it takes upwards of $300 million. And one of the challenges that companies face is that the regulations are very fragmented. And so we have been, as you have rightly suggested, seeking harmonization of data requirements from different parts of the world. So I think that's something that is a continuing dialogue that we are having with various regulators. I think you again pointed it out, the need for a science-based risk assessment as opposed to an hazard-based risk assessment. I think this will also go a long way in ensuring that the right products are introduced into the market without kind of judging it on the basis of a chemical or a toxicological property in its isolation. The third one is, I think we really need to think about policies that will encourage stewardship of product. And I think that's where I feel that regulations are missing in India because we have, the first registration is very difficult. Subsequent registrations are very fast. And market dynamics, you need to understand that if somebody has to invest to create a market for a product, there has to be sufficient profit. No business exists without profit, right? And hence, to think about how do we encourage stewardship of molecules, because the number of technologies are reducing very rapidly because of the cost, and also because the number of companies involved in agriculture today has reduced quite a lot. So we need to really encourage policies that are much more, favorable to stewarding products better. The last point is really enforcement. I think in my experience, which is a little bit dated, one big challenge that I've seen, particularly from a farmer perspective, is how do you regulate quality of products in the market, right? And we have had number of dialogues, and I think one of the discrepancies is that in a country like India, the regulations are formulated at federal level, enforcement is at the state level, and hence there is sometimes a disconnect between both. But today it is possible to use statistical and generative AI based approaches to really identify who is the culprit. and really, punish the culprit as opposed to, trying to get samples from everybody and, make life difficult for everyone. The other very important point from a One Health perspective is that, look, I think from December 2021, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare had a draft order on the import manufacture of streptomycin and tetracycline. And we have an objective to make sure that antibiotics don't get used in agriculture from 2024. But I think the enforcement of this has not been great. Antibiotics continue to be used in Indian agriculture, at least the last I knew. Very similarly, there is going to be a draft order which is going to prohibit antibiotic use in animal by FSSAI. Now, again, we need to see how long it will take to really enforce this, in a very strict manner. So while we have great regulations, how well is it enforced so that the serious committed players can really, be kind of rewarded and the bad ones can be. That's an area from a policy perspective that I would like you to really look at. And last but not the least, there are two more points. While India has an intellectual property regime of certain standard, I think it is important to continue to improve that to global standards, particularly data protection, again, because innovation costs money. And if you want companies to innovate, invest into research, etc., you need to be able to protect that intellectual property and all the data that is generated for regulatory. Last, again, has been touched on by my previous discussant, which is this collaborative approach between industry, academia, regulators, policymakers. And I was just sitting here and thinking the way we are sitting here today, where the regulators and scientists are on one side, industry on the other side, and the farmer on one side, and the policymakers in the middle, is a telling example of why we still don't have enough communication and respect for each other. And I think in the interest of food security of India and nutritional security, I think it's very important we change the structure of sitting and talk to each other much more. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Raman. Very good points raised by you, and I think many issues on which we are working, and it may not concern the farmer directly, but yes, it is more directed towards us. So we will try to finish it out. You may tell the farmers what he has said.
விவசாயிகளுக்கு நம்மளுடைய முனைவர் ராமச்சந்திரன் அவர்கள் இந்த ஒரே நலத்தில் எவ்வாறு நாம் முன்னேற வேண்டும் என்பது பற்றி மிக விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறினார்கள். இது நம்ம புதுசாக ஒன்றும் இல்லை, முன்னாடி இருந்தே நம்ம கடைபிடிச்சிக்கிட்டு தான் இருக்கோம் இந்தியாவில் அப்படிங்கிறத மிக விளக்கமாக கூறியதோடு மட்டும் இல்லாமல் அந்த உணவு மற்றும் சத்து செக்யூரிட்டிக்கு ரொம்ப முக்கியம் அப்படிங்கிறதையும் விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறினாங்க. இந்த சஸ்டைனபிள் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய முழுமையடைந்த வேளாண்மை செய்யும்போது ப்ராக்டிசஸை ஃபாலோ பண்ணும்போது இந்த மாதிரி பாகுபாடுகள் எதுவும் வராது அப்படிங்கிறதோட மட்டும் சொன்னதோட மட்டும் இல்லாமல் பயாலாஜிக்கல், அவங்க மேக்ஸ்வெல் சொன்ன பயாலாஜிக்கல்ஸை இன்னும் எப்படிலாம் முன்னெடுத்து செல்ல வேண்டும், அதோடு மட்டும் அல்லாமல் இந்த நுண்ணூட்டச்சத்து குறைபாடுகள் பற்றியும் விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறினார்கள். மேலும் இந்த வளர்ந்து வரும் விஞ்ஞான உலகில் டிஜிட்டலைசேஷன் எவ்வாறு நம்மளுடைய பூச்சி நோய்களை கண்டுபிடிப்பதற்கு மட்டுமல்லாமல் அதில் நிறைய ஸ்டார்ட் அப் இப்போ உருவாகிட்டு நிறைய ஆப்புகள்லாம் வந்துள்ளன, அதையும் பயன்படுத்த வேண்டும். இன்க்ளூடிங் சேட்டலைட் இமேஜையும் பயன்படுத்த வேண்டும் என்பது பற்றியும் கூறியதோடு மட்டுமல்லாமல் அந்த பயாலாஜிக்கல்ஸ் என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய உயிரியல் முறை ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷனை சீக்கிரம் செய்ய முடியும் என்பதையும் எடுத்து கூறினார்கள். மேலும் இது இறுதியாக இந்த ஒரு ஒருங்கிணைந்த முறையிலே அரசு மற்றும் தனியார் ஒத்துழைப்புடன் அனைத்து முயற்சிகளை செய்ய வேண்டும் என்பதை மிக விளக்கமாக எடுத்து கூறினார்கள். நன்றி.
Okay, thank you. Now let us move to Dr. Edwin Rogbel Jaising from Corteva. So Corteva is working on new chemistry, a lot of solutions they are trying to develop, even for I think this one, fall army 1. Now they are progressing ahead at a very fast pace. So Let us hear from them.
Good afternoon, dignitaries on the dais and the audience. First of all, I thank you, the TNA administration and especially SBPS director for giving us the opportunity to share our perspective here. So I would like to share the designing and developing of sustainable crop protection solutions. So how the industry is helping us to bring the product safer, and I'll connect upon with what are the regulatory challenges which we have. So to introduce myself, I am Edwin Rockbell, based at Hyderabad, leading the R&D function for crop protection division of Koteva Agri-Science. I'm alumni of JNAU from Madurai campus. I started my career here in Coimbatore as a field scientist. Before that, I was a sales trainee, field scientist covering Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and then I moved to handle fungicide, herbicides in the South Asia and also in the APAC region. And when Koteva is formed by the merger of Dow, DuPont, and Pioneer, and spin off into 3 different companies. One is Koteva Agri-Science. When Koteva was formed, I moved to a global biology role based at Singapore. Then I moved back to India to lead the marketing function, one of the category. Then I moved back to R&D. I gone through multi-diversity roles in my career. So since students are here, that will be an example for them. So to show the opportunity in the industry also. So how Koteva snapshot, we are operating in 110 countries and the market cap of $40 billion. Last year, our revenue reported was $17 billion. We have 22,000 plus employees and around 10 million farmers we are serving. So our seed, number 1 in corn and soybean, that's a pioneer. And largest biologicals, I'll touch upon how we claim that one. And we have 400 seed and CP solutions. And the current technology is critical to solving some of the world's biggest challenges. We already discussed that, the food security, and then climate change, which is impacting the yield and other pests and diseases, and energy transition. We discussed during the break about how the some of the food grains are going for the energy production and all. So that's also challenge, and farmers are facing a lot of challenge to match up the producing the yield, because land availability is going down and down, and they are facing a lot of pest and pressures, pest and diseases, and stringent regulations. So for a seed, on an average, is 16 years, and for crop protection, as Dr. Raman mentioned, with $300 million, that is 2,500 crores in Indian rupees with 12 years. So that's how it's taking more time. And sustainability area of focus, and we have heard in the morning session also, Syngenta, UPL, Endophil, rallies, everyone touched upon. And all the point what I would like to bring here is most of the R&D companies, from their discovery, they inbuilt the sustainability goal to protect the biodiversity and to control greenhouse gas emissions. Like we are promoting, especially in the rice area, from transplanted rice to direct seeded rice with some solutions, and inclusion and diversity. So how do we do it? We focus on the farmers first, and it's a big puzzle. Crop protection innovation or discovery is a big puzzle involving the regulatory challenges and sustainability criteria and durability. If you bring the product, it should sustain for a long time. Because a lot of challenges on the resistant development and controlling the emerging pests and diseases also, reduced use rate, mode of action, drift. Nowadays, new technologies are coming, drones and all. It should meet that also. So hence, sustainable innovation is important, and Koteva, we committed to bring products which are meeting the sustainability criteria, from meeting the land and environment so that it is safe for the environment and not leaving any footprint on the soil or atmosphere, and communities, because the shorter PHI. Some of the product, if we spray, we cannot consume it for a minimum particular number of days. We need a shorter PHI, and at the same time, broad spectrum control, and for the farmers also, how to handle. If they are handling, it should be safe. All these things are inbuilt, and FAA brought a sustainability goals, 17 goals. In that, Koteva selected 5 goals, like zero hunger and clean water and sanitation, then climate action and life on land, and also responsible consumptions. So this we inbuilt, how do we bring a product, a novel mode of action, and also reduce risk to the groundwater and use rate, less use rate. So compared with the conventional product, and if you see all the new product launched from the new chemistries, they are all very less usage. And also biological or natural product, we committed to bring that one, and less environmental persistence. So with all these, we are inbuilding from the beginning. Like these are all the different stages. We screen close to 2 lakhs molecules in a year, and then from that 30,000, 15,000 will be identified, and only 30 will have some opportunity, and we'll select finally one product. So that's why it's taking 11 to 12 years with the $300 million. The sustainability needs to be inbuilt starting from the discovery. Otherwise, once we move to the development stage, then if it is not meeting, then we have to stop that one, and huge loss of time and money. So from discovery, product design, and that is a product design is a formulation, either it's a granule or a SC formulation, liquid formulation or powder formulation, and manufacturing process also very, very important, and distribution channels, whether packaging materials, how we can pack and transport, and finally the end user customers, how do they use, how do they handle, and how it is being disposed. So for this, we use the predictive tools, assessments, and enabling technologies. And every stage will have some metrics to assess for the next stage. Whatever, if you see natural products, we are inspired by the natural portfolio. We have fungicide and insecticide developed. Insecticide, we all know, we have tracer, that was a spinosad that we branded as a Qualcova active, and delegate, that's a trade name, and the technical is spinotram. We branded the technical as Gemelve active. These are all the known insecticide available in India, and we have fungicides in other countries based on naturally inspired product. So the biologicals also, microbial strains also, we've gone through the similar process, like from the discovery and development stage. And when it comes to the final manufacturing stage, some of them will move as a kind of chemistry based on, if we are not able to take it as a straight product, then we will manufacture based on the chemical structure that will go to the chemistry. Or if there is any synthetic steps, that will be coming under semi-synthetic, like delegate is a synthetic one, even though it's from the soil bacterium. But Kolkova, it qualified for the biologicals because it's all natural steps there. And some of the live microbes, we take it as biologicals. Now, biologicals, we all know that they have multiple verticals inside. As a biostimulants, they have for stress management or nutrient management and pheromones, and also biocontrol products. We discussed a lot during the discussion about the biopesticides, either insecticide, fungicide, or a herbicide. So this is the biological one. So, but we need to remember that biological will not, the objective of our industry is not to replace the chemistry with the biologicals, because Dr. Singh mentioned that in India we are using based on the symptom-based usage. So at that stage, if until we reach that proactively manage based on the proper recommendation and all, chemistry is needed. Chemistry will be there, it will complement the chemistry, biologicals will complement the chemistry, so that if we can start with the chemistry and later on intervene with the biological, we will not leave any residues, and we don't need to worry about the MRLs. So these are all some of the advantages of biological. That's why we committed to bring biologicals. We acquired 2 companies to fastly acquire some of the products. And similarly, you would have seen a lot of other multinational companies who are investing more on the R&D, also bringing more of biologicals. So I'll give a few examples of the recent products and also touch upon few regulatory requirements. So one of the example is the Renscar, that's a rice herbicide. We launched 2 years back. So this very highly safe and low use rate, 30 gram active at the full label rate. And the formulation, we use the green solvents. So in other countries, we registered as a new EC. But here, since we do not have the guidelines, it's coming under normal EC only. And best in class regulatory profile. How? So it's very safe for aquatics also. This product is registered for aquatic use in lakes and ponds in US. and it is coming under reduced risk category and also got the award of Green Chemistry Award. So if we want to extend this product, because we also have lots of lakes and ponds, mainly Icarnia, and it's damaging the either the water usage or even the transportation and all. This can have an application on those area. But if we see that the last product which was registered before all the guidelines were formed, or somewhere around 30 years back, Gramaxone. After that, that was also withdrawn, and no product is being, as of now, registered for aquatic weed control in lakes and ponds. These products have high fitness for that one. We also started with the crop life, discussing with the ministry how to create the guidelines, because without any guidelines, we cannot go and generate the data. So that involves the time and money. So this can be looked into that one, one of the opportunity for extending some of the agrochemicals in the non-agri area also, because these are highly safe for us. Then the another one is the Reclamal. This is and this product Rinskar is launched in the brand names of Novixid and Novelect. And next one is the nematicide. This again, it's a unique mode of action. It's a pure nematicide. It is not having any insecticide or fungicide or herbicidal activity. It's a pure nematicide activity, and it's a contact action. It should be applied prophylactically and compatible with the soil health and management program, because nematode lives in soil, and we have lots and lots of beneficial microorganisms in the soil. Whatever the chemistry which treating the soil should be safe. And since it is purely a nematicide, it is completely safe for all the microorganisms. So it's compatible, and it's also, we got the award of reduced risk category. And here currently we launched the product with the 4 crops on the label: capsicum, brinjal, cucumber, cucumber, and sorry, I'm not able to recollect. So, and we are planning to expand the label. Here, one of the requests from the regulators here, Dr. Sonirajan is here. So the first product registration, it takes on an average in the last 7 years time, 3+ years. Initially, before that, it was 2 years. It's now taking on an average 2.5 to 3 years. The label expansion is also taking the similar time nowadays. So probably the request may be, if some of the products are having these kind of safety features, and if there is an application for other to expand to the other crops, that can be taken as a special consideration, like what you mentioned about the ad hoc recommendation for the fall armyworm. At that time, even with the single season data, it was given. So here, even after 2 years submission, it's going through the regular review and taking close to 2 years. So that can be considered if the product fits for any of the criteria, like if you fit this low risk or less harmful, those kind of criteria, if we can prioritize, that will be helpful. For example, this nematode is a problem in pomegranate, cardamom, and guava and all. So if we want to generate, you all know, companies will bring in stage by stage only on the label expansions. If something is helping us, we can cover the label expansion in a shorter time. And finally, the biologicals. We discussed a lot about the biologicals, and especially the biopesticide and all. We have one product, Utrisha. It's a kind of biofertilizer. And this is a bacterium foliar applied one. If we spray foliar.
A little faster, huh?
Yeah,
because
the last
everybody
one
is now moving away.
Yeah, the last one. So this fixes the nitrogen and helps in the stress management. But one challenge for us is, but this particular species is not reported in India. So if you want to bring a foreign strain, so yes, guidelines are there, but still not a proper guidelines. This can be considered how we can create a full guideline so that we can generate data. Like you mentioned, it should be safe for the local organisms and local environment. So, but if we have some guidelines, what are the data needs to be generated, that we can take and bring it faster. These are all some of the examples I brought here, and that was my last slide. Thank you for the opportunity.
So thank you, Edwin. And if you want to tell something. Okay. So now we move on to Dr. Jay Raman, MD, Srishti Biosciences Private Limited, Hyderabad. Gentlemen, it should be short, huh?
I'm trying my best.
Ah.
I'll do it. I know you're all hungry. Yet, so I come from the nutrition industry, the other side of the spectrum, that is One Health from human perspective. But we are closely connected to agriculture. Unless we do the agriculture, we cannot get into the nutrition industry successfully. So can I have my presentation? Last one, yes, 6. So for your information, I'm also an alumni of TNAU. So 25 years, not 50 years. Yet we are a 15 years old company, and a company. These two pictures I've actually taken from my website to tell you what we are doing. Our research aligns science responsibly to nature for human, plant, and planet health. And we do a lot of regenerative agriculture for sustainable and bioavailable active natural ingredients. We produce plant-based vitamins and minerals. So this is a brief introduction about me. And now getting into One Health regenerative context. See, Linus Pauling, a Nobel Prize winner for vitamins, has once said that the continuum of malnutrition is associated with all the chronic diseases we get today. And not just the continuum of malnutrition associated with just human, animals, as well as plants. There is a connect. So I want to pick a small example from my industry. Vitamin B12 is an important global problem today because it is closely associated with the degenerative neural health. And the vitamin B12 deficiency is a global problem. And the world seriously believes that unless you take animal food, vegan don't have the vitamin B12 source. I just want to take you through a small example. Let's take mare's milk, horse milk, cow milk, and then mother's milk, human milk, and the colostrum. Over the last 50 plus years, there's a research that says that mother's milk has gone down in its B12 levels 1,000 times. And then it is at a level of 0.01 or something. Mare's milk is continuing to keep to some extent, is continuing to keep up its B12 production. And then the horse is a herbivore. It does not eat animal food. But today we are believing in vitamin supplementation. We want to eat animal food. I mean, the vegan people are worried about the B12 nutrition just because there's a whole lot of degenerative thing that has happened in the system that has led to a point where genetically we are degraded, that we are no longer the same. For years, 50 plus years, we are no longer the same. If you look at connecting this to the plant, if you look at that topsoil erosion, plant genetic erosion, microbiome erosion, leading to nutrition degradation in the food supply system, poor dietary health. So we are very closely connected. In the spectrum of One Health, you've seen that the environmental health, animal health, plant health. Probably you can put the plant health in the center and then try to associate environmental health, animal health, and human health. It'll make more sense because plant health plays a major role in influencing the environmental health, human health, and animal health. So today we are fortifying, but fortifying is a temporary solution. Regenesis is the only solution. Can we go back to our original potential? Should be the idea of research. Because my perspective is going to be a science perspective and then connecting the policy towards it, not a fully policy perspective. The next. What is regenesis in plant health perspective? I think it's very important, more from the scientific perspective to understand. Plant protection, probably I want, for convenience, I want to use the word crop protection and plant protection together. Crop protection, for instance, it's a kind of a post-mortem thing where on the standing crop, what if something happens, what can we do with it? But plant protection, I think we should look at more from a holistic perspective, more from the research perspective. We know that we seek insecticides, pesticides, or some kind of disease not exactly defense, disease curating systems. But I think the plant protection should more focus on plant defense. It's more like, you can compare in food safety systems, we talk food safety separately, food defense separately. Similarly, crop protection separately, plant protection separately, and then we should start focusing more on plant protection from the defense perspective. I think that will make more sense, because crop protection is like, you can't help a disease occurred, you have to do something. A pest incurred, you have to do something. So the entire regulation would probably focus on aligning that and streamlining that. It is the research ecosystem that should probably focus more on. One of the examples I've taken is here, garlic. 50 years back, garlic, 30 years back, garlic, and garlic now. What has happened to it? Like, garlic was famous for its pungency. It is directly connected to cardiovascular health. Today's garlic is connected to dietary fiber health. You look at the competition, I've taken some accessions, our company, because while selecting the right ecotype for our own nutrition, we have done the research on 625 plus accessions that the onion and garlic research ICR has done. We try to pick up the high pungency varieties. I can even quote the Ooty variety. It lost its pungency when it was, what was its pungency once and what is it now? The expression study is there is a competition during the bulb formation stage between the allinase genes versus the fructan genes. And then the fructan genes succeed. It's a problem, it's a kind of, you was talking about the stewardship. One molecule stewardship, similarly varietal stewardship, genetic stewardship. Are the varieties remaining the same since we launched and now? How potent are they when it was launched, and what is its potency right now? Are they really solving our problems for which it was originally designated? These questions have to be asked. I think probably plant health, plant protection has more perspective towards genetic health of the plant in terms of its varietal pure lines or hybrids or for whatever it has been selected for, because the ecosystem continuously puts pressure on anything. Next is taking the current regenerative agriculture perspective, what has been discussed now. Current regenerative agriculture is a regulatory-wise marketed system, like an organic. And then the regulators have come together and defined something. It's not a scientifically, it's becoming scientifically understood, but it's more a regulated system in the world where they have some set of regulations, and if you follow it and if you qualify, then you are given a regenerative organic certificate, and then it's called we are trying to keep that away. This is only for your understanding. And the current regenerative agriculture system talks about these 7 parameters: armored soils with living plants, which now become more measurable because they are talking about the NDVI measure, enhanced crop diversity, minimized soil disturbance, reduce the toxicity of pesticides, improving the natural habitat ecosystem with predators, waterways, beneficial organisms, concept gardening, and then reducing the agrochemicals impact and optimized water use and increased soil organic matter. If you are doing regenerative agriculture today in a regulated ecosystem, probably you have to get a certificate. Some authorities will come and measure all this and probably is going to give you a certificate. But besides this, we want to talk about the actual regenesis. See, the regenesis from a responsible design perspective. How can we behave responsibly to the ecosystem? This is an environmentally responsible design, which is now being globally followed to understand and then stage sustainability at various levels. We want to understand that the existing conventional agriculture is a degenerating system, consistently degenerating system, because there is a mass imbalance. We keep taking the water out of the system, we keep taking the nutrition out of the system, but how effectively are we putting it back, we don't know. So it's a mass imbalance. So it is a consistently degenerating system that is getting challenged. So if you have to restore it and then regenerate it, there is a need for us to have a model. So this is how we put it in a responsible way. If you are actually looking at your degenerating system with a perspective for relative improvement, then you are called green. And then you are taking it to a neutral state, then you are calling it sustainable. Sustainable is just a neutral state. And then restorative state, where we start doing things similar to nature. And then in a regenerative situation, you do things like nature, close to nature and like nature. That is the regenerative state. It is humans practicing as nature. That's the most difficult thing. And then it's scientifically also more challenging. Moving on to the regenerative agriculture, we are talking about, we are not talking about the ecosystem health more philosophically or spiritually. We have to talk it more
Dr.
scientifically.
Jaram, a little faster.
Sorry?
A little quick.
Yeah, I'm doing it, yeah. So this, I have 2 more slides, so I'll close it fast. This is the perspective which we look at. I mean, we talk about the microbes. The ecosystem tries to achieve a systemic homeostasis. And then the host, the plant for which you are talking about, the health of the plant, has its own signatures around. Rhizo signature, its own signature, apo signature, philo signature, entero signature, enviro signatures. All these are microbial signatures. If the ecoholobiont is able to assemble itself properly to the signatures, then they work as a symbiont and they consistently regenerate. We call it a second genome. There is a plant's original genome is the first genome, and there is a second genome that exists which we neglect. Second genome does a lot. Like I said, in human health, B12 deficiency, second genome can take care of it. I have an example of Kerala wilt disease in this perspective of how we look at the second genome. Quickly, I wanted to go through it, the 2 perspectives, the pattern-triggered immunity and the activation of the ETI immunity. The effectors, if you look at it, if the plant is very healthy, the acquisition feeding probably eliminates the phytoplasma from the insect itself, assuming the plant is healthy. Plant at a very healthy state. So what is that healthy state? Say, let's say if the apo signature of the plant is order promoting, if the protist population in the plant coconut sap is less, then it is not healthy, it is more susceptible. Looking at the ETI, the effector's point of it, if the nicotinate adenine dinucleotide plus homeostasis does not exist in the coconut sap, then it is going to be more susceptible for this disease. This systems biology understanding can help us arrive at a solution. Simplest solution, for example, vitamin B3, NAD, can achieve a homeostasis in the sap. There are some sense-fluencers like Frachuria. The host itself carries this microbe. One of the best microbial control agent for the Kerala wilt is Frachuria. The host has it. I'm talking about the plant hopper. It is extracted from the plant hopper, which means in such a way, there is a quorum sensing that exists in the system, which is something we have to study. Solutions are available, but we have to be very early. We should not start looking at once the incidents happen. And maybe I'll skip this slide quickly and go on to policy and regulations perspective of how we can close this. Maybe we have to look at, I'm not going to talk about the pesticide regulation and things like that. I'm going to look at how the R&D in agriculture is being looked at. I think we need more, we have to move away from the reductionist approach to science towards systemic science. That's extremely important. And then at the farm level, if you look at it, the farm health is not taken care because there is a problem with land ownership itself. There's some problems where, if you go and meet a farmer, there are land owners available, agriculture labor is available, but where is the farmer? A farmer is somebody who takes care of the ecosystem. He owns the ecosystem. This is something to be looked at in more from a policy perspective. Third is agriculture capital perspective. We don't look at soil capital, water capital, things like that. That has to be looked at independently, and then that has to be invested. So that's another thing which, from general policy perspective, that can only achieve a mass balance. Then perspective to agriculture finance is more unethical. If me living in a city, if I go to a shop, to a Bajaj Finance or something to buy a vehicle, they give me interest-free loan. 6 months crop loan is 24% microfinance. That's a serious problem here. I don't know how is it going to be rectified, but the regulation have to look at it. An urban guy gets interest-free loan for his luxury. Then 5, the conventional agriculture is structurally promoted, but the sustainable agroecological models are not built, not financed, not incentivized. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
We are returning back to our traditional roots, and that kind of requirements are there now. So let us move to Thiru OVR Somasundaram sir. But be brief, sir.
Too much as a father and grandfather. Why? I am worried about the younger generation, right? Why? India is the number 1, is a capital of cancer. 70% of the death 3 years and years by cancer. Why? Toxic food we are what we are consuming, everything, including curry leaf, everything. But you must all understand what you are indiscriminate use of pesticides. The department should have the power to work with along a pesticide. Otherwise, very difficult. The US egg is not getting in high demand. Why? Bird flu. So birds and animals and plants are playing a major role in our life for food. So we must be very careful, And organic farming, but is it sustainable? Organic farming. The farmer could get a reasonable price for this product. That is not there. Even other products, nobody is calculating the cost of production for each crop. That you must encourage the top departments to work out the cost of production of all crops. Otherwise, farming community will go away from farming. They are not getting reasonable price. Anything, cost of production margin, they are fixing. Who is fixing the price for agriculture, sir? Please tell me, sir. Sorry, sir. Then, good agriculture practice will be encouraged. The judicious use of chemical. Don't mistake me, sir. And sir, soil carbon level is going very low. That is the major problem. You heard about biochar, sir? Biochar. That is a stable carbon. You must make our department, universities, to work on more biochar. That is more important. Sir, Cornell University, they are doing a lot of work. Previously, our PNU was a dual program with Cornell University. That time I brought all the books, I gave it to university. No use. Now everybody is talking about biochar, conference everywhere. That is the only solution. You are helping in two ways. One, you are reducing methane production and helping the soil carbon, sir. Another thing, sir, I am skipping a lot. Paddy should come under drip to avoid methane and save water and more production. And under SRI. Sir, adulteration in a very big way, sir, everywhere. What are they taking the drinks, soft drink, everything. And the chlorify was, you heard about Rabab Ukuma? That is mainly with chlorify was. Sorry, sir. Of the doctors telling, most of the people kidney and liver problem with magic milk. You are responsible, sir. You are like a God, you have to tell. And sir, and sulfur fumigation for copra. They are going, people are going, they will give money and they will, without anything they will come out. Of course, FSSAI should be very strict. It should work along with our department. But say small farmers and marginal farmers are going away from farming. Why? Money attraction is not there. They are not getting reasonable price. All are going. Manpower is not available. If available, expensive, it's less efficient. Then what is the solution? And you already fragmented that by land reforms and by nature, one son, two son, two son. No? Large scale mechanization is possible, not possible. You have to arrange small scale mechanization. You have to work more. Strengthen the systems to make development of resistant variety to pests and diseases and tolerant variation, drought and climate change. Science should be allowed on long-term work in research projects rather than being frequently transferred. A scientist who is working in coconut for 25 years, transferred to Jinjili, the knowledge is not going to help the crop farmers and the country and the consumer. Sir, you must be strict on this, sir. See, and our university, 500 scientists posts are vacant. How you can expect a good research? Sir, please tell me, sir. How can it possible? Here is the solution, sir. And polyose controlled condition is the only solution for vegetable cultivation, sir. Polyosis. But not in 1 acre, 2 acre. Sir, you must make a cluster like-minded people. 30 acres, 40 acres. If some places, some countries, they are using robot. Plugging, sorting and segregation and tagging. That's the thing, sir. We can expect, see, coconut, you know, heard about root wilt? From 1800, it is in Darwin, 82, it was in Kottayam endemic area, spread everywhere. So far, after working 130 years, they found out the pharma is the cost. No reason, only cut and burn. Our university brought out a microbial consortium Cococon that is helping me. There is more, but there is a problem. The stirring, making, aerating is more obvious and more important. That is most of them failing.
Thank you. You have raised very important issues, and I can tell some of many places government is working on all these things. Say in Kashmir, and several other schemes. Whatever problems you have told, yes, very genuine problems, and yes, from time to time government takes action on these things. Value chain for value chain infrastructure, agri infrastructure, the fund 1 lakh crore interest subvention scheme. So such kind of funds are being there, but like you told about biochar, yes, that is very good, but the costs involved and the production capacity, how it is to be produced and where it has to be produced, and then why not direct paddy straw can be used for making biochar. So these things are there. So issues. So no, it's okay. I know. I know. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, she will add all those things. So you have to say, or it is time if you want to say something.
We had an important session and there was a very good gathering also. Whatsoever can we earlier here were a few policies, many times it is not implemented and there are a lot of issues involved. Now this conference we made a lot of information. I am sure that this will go a long way in refining our policy support by the government. They do policy, but the recommendation should come from the industries and other people. Thanks to them for making this. And in fact, I think that there are biocontrol agents that should make some novel way of doing this so that whatever registration procedure that fast. And second thing, quarantine is very, very important. Many places the nurseries are not at all authorized. And there should be a stringent monitoring system so that the transfer of especially the nematode from one place to another, that will make it very neat. And third important thing, sir, when I was in NIPH, I saw these some of the biocontrol agents, they are unique to the particular crop and in the endemic areas. Now the government should take some policy by giving subsidy for producing some of the biocontrol agents. So for example, groundnut you have a root crop. Many times the people withdraw the crop. But the opportunity. Thank you, Doctor.
So thank you, Coach.
Thank you for everyone joining us and giving valid points. Surely every points will be taken into proceedings, it will be taken forward. Thanks a lot.